We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which this project is created, the Wurundjeri people of the Cuillin Nation. We would also like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging.
Settle down and gather round for another tale. In the world of Nua, where time has carved and cultivated a magical utopia of wonder, a small group of adventurers unlock the deep mysteries of the land, its people, and themselves. Welcome to the Down Under Dungeon podcast.
God, Suze, I'm longing for simple days as the weave we follow grows ever more complicated. I've spent a lot of time on the sails of the Halligast as we head eastwards. It gives a nice view, a place to watch how the threads of fate have woven amongst my traveling companions. Lysandra's beginning to trust more in others, finding joy in new skills and friendship and facing her past head-on. I do worry about her the most. I trust she can handle herself, but some of her actions have seemed to fall back into the pattern of desperately trying to impress someone. The new magic within her, I hope it's a force for good and a guiding hand, not a leading one. Feng is stepping up to responsibility. I've watched him closely, and he's becoming a wonderful and kind force within the weave of Nua as a whole, moving past old quarrels with Holly to step up as first mate to keep an eye on her. I have faith in where this path will take him. I still can't quite tell how Denis threads into all this yet. He's been instrumental in teaching Lysandra how to use a cannon and helping me to keep the ship together, but he's new, unpredictable. He has a gift for tinkering alongside his cooking career, and I am deeply touched by his gift of the veteran's cane, no matter how ancient that word makes me feel. I know I won't be able to hold him at a distance for long. I'm already starting to consider him as one of my flock, and an old girl does have to learn new tricks. I think something was trying to tell me that when we ran into the water elementals and the storm clouds, watching the way they moved and flowed with the currents of the rain in a type of dance, and gifting me some of that ability, telling me that I should move with the flow of things, that I can shape where they go. It's a bit of a comfort, and a needed wake-up, because I know that I've been distant recently with the revelation of Q and the ship's systems. I can't seem to let go of the past as we hurtle towards the future, and even with the conversation of my Wellspringers, that this form would be one that Quig would find joy in, I'm still scared he's more trapped than ever. But I have faith in where we're headed, and the people I'm with. I'm more worried about the weight on all our shoulders as we get closer to our final rest stop on this ship. Despite my fears and my doubts, I know we can fix this, and I'll get us all home afterwards. I promise I'll see you soon. I love you.
The thing now has 2 mantelips, and I would argue that is winning.
That is very winning.
Almost
2
3.
plus 3.
I would argue that's theft.
I would argue theft is the most pure form of winning.
I was reading a post today where it says monkeys are definitely more intelligent than human beings, because if a monkey walked up to his mates and proposed the idea of capitalism, they'd club him to death.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? That really resonates with me. Anyway, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Good morning, Mr. DM.
Good morning, Mr. Emerson.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Cross would be an awful. Although my uncle was a teacher, so. Well, we had a very exciting session last week with the travels on the Halligast.
Ship combat is intense.
Maiden voyage.
It's in cabins, I think. A little bit of tent cabin humour for you there. Start the morning well.
You all braved the storm and escaped from the clutches of the Ether Core. Bruised, battered, some a little bit stronger, but all very wet. You emerge on the other side of the maelstrom, and that is where we find our party now. In the aftermath of the storm, the sun sinks over the horizon and Charity flies about the Halligast, lighting lanterns. With the wind now still and more members of the crew beginning to filter from the relative cover of the lower decks, the mood on board returns somewhat to normal. This was really the first test of mettle for the crew. How do the Wellspringers celebrate?
Denis is going to celebrate by whispering something to Pud and then sending him over to bother Plimp.
Interesting. Can you be a little bit more specific with the descriptor bother?
I just I just want Pud to go up to Plimp and get in her face a little bit. And then Denny's gonna come up and go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. He does this all the time. It is, little kids,
Or it's just full taunting her. Like,
So what is your instruction to Pud?
Denny's gonna kneel down to Pud's size and say, "Hey, buddy, if you could go over there and pick a fight with the one-legged halfling over there."
You see Pud kind of nods disgruntledly, turns around, waltzes directly after Plimp, who kind of does that thing where she's like if you don't like dogs and the dog's approaching you, that kind of thing. And he just starts kicking her in the shins. I should say shin. She is one-legged.
That's what I thought. Denny's gonna run up to Pud and Plimp and go, "Oh, I'm so sorry about this. As they get out of hand sometimes, nothing for you to worry about. My apologies."
You see Pud turns around and aims a kick at you. Deals 1 point of bludgeoning damage.
Pud's revolting.
I let Pud hit.
Yeah, it's like Pud goes, "It's a big fight. We're gonna fight. You want to fight? I'll fight you. Fight me? Fight you." And he goes to kick you again.
Oh my God.
That's a 15 on the dice.
Doesn't hit. I mean, I'll let Plimp hit me. Like, that's fine.
Pud, not
Oh, Pud's hitting me.
Yeah, Pud's just going nuts.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look at Pud and say, "Pud, that's enough. The plan didn't work."
You see a single tear of golden apple juice wells in Pud's eyes.
"No, Pud, don't be like this. Come on, man."
He turns away from you.
"No, Pud." Denny's gonna turn to Plimp and say, "Kids,
Plimp looks and says, that's yours?
Oh, oui, my pride and joy."
I don't know my letters and words and things like that, but how?
Well, when Daddy Apple and the Mommy Apple love each other very much. I'm kidding. I baked him. I made him with my magical cooking prowess.
Oh, you've got prowess?
I have a lot of prowess.
Is that like a disease?
Oh
Or
my God.
because hey, I'm diseased, so
This is 2 -2 charisma characters trying to interact with each other.
You know what this feels like? This feels like a boy in year 9 trying to flirt with someone and doing it terribly.
Prowess is a reference to my abilities. But if you want to talk diseases, I'd like to hear some more about yours.
and we're gonna actually, you know what? Fuck it. Make me a persuasion check with advantage.
Yes. Denny fucks Plim.
I'm horrified, but Plimp wouldn't be, so
Here we go. The fucking 10.
and we cut over to the rest. What is everyone else doing in this moment?
Thing in this moment, I'm going to recall back to something that you gave me in episode 3 with Promi.
Uh-oh. What have I done?
You said that Promi could give me advantage on withstanding cold weathers.
Yes.
So, as we are heading into these tundra isles, am I able to work with either Finkel or Denny if he's free? Apparently not. To set up little fires around the boat that Promi starts, as well in this role, I'm trying to play into the first mate position as well, going around to all of the crewmates, making sure that they're safe, warm, and then Promi can also comfort them in that moment. Hopefully that way that no one on the boat has to suffer any cold conditions.
Yeah, I would say Holly follows Promi around as he starts laying little eggs of fire, and she just kind of quickly scoops them up and puts them into glass jars just to make sure that nothing catches fire.
Recognizing the OH&S safety.
Yes. But you do see a lot of the crewmates are very appreciative of this, and more of them appear on the deck.
While I'm doing so, can Feng, as first mate, make an insight check or something to see if there is a crew member or two that are maybe feeling disgruntled or angry after that storm?
Actually, you don't even need to make me an insight check. Make me a perception check.
Sure. 14.
As the mood begins to lighten and amongst the frivolity, as quickly ignited as a grass fire thing, you see Daisy, the kobold, and one of her subordinates appearing to have an altercation towards the stern. They attract a crowd of whooping and jeering crewmates. You see Daisy is signing viciously to a sly powder monkey, very clearly indicating the removal of the sailor's bows before being tossed overboard.
Oh.
The powder monkey continues to mock Daisy, dodging out of the way of her swipes, jeering, "Come on, Daisy, tell us how you really feel. Not going to be much use to us in a storm, are we, quiet kobold? No good waving down the crow's nest in the dark of night, eh?"
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Thing doesn't understand common sign, as was substantiated when we first met Darby. So Thing is going to start to intervene in this moment, try to calm everyone down. He's going to run over and say, "Everyone, no fighting on the ship. That is where we're meant to fight the enemies." And can he in this moment also call Louis over to help interpret the sign and diffuse this situation?
Yes, Louis, you come over. You know that this powder monkey's name is Axel, and he's this small, gold-toothed feldspar youth, no more than 14 or 15 years old.
Louis moves over, is like, "How can I help? What do you want me to do?"
I don't know what Daisy's saying. Can you please tell me what she's signing?
Yeah, absolutely. I translate what happened in the previous fight.
There's a lot of swear words.
Louis has a second where she's like, do I bleep this? She's just like, no, he's a big boy. And just fully like, foul mouth swears at you. That's what she's saying. That's not from you. That's from her.
So, the tension in here is obviously Daisy is mute and cannot speak. So, if she were to say, need to shout out to someone or, relay a message, she wouldn't be able to do it in certain environments on the ship, and that is what is making some of the sailors nervous.
Thing in this moment would like to say to Axel, "Do you know what? You're right. I think it's time we all start learning common sign. So Daisy and Louis, when you're ready, everyone has to start taking weekly common sign lessons."
Give me a flat persuasion check.
Can I give him advantage with that because I'm there and I'm offering to teach?
I would give you the advantage, but as I said, these aren't the smartest people in the world who are not very motivated by academic learning and are more motivated by gold. So unless you are doing something specifically to give him advantage to convince rogues to sit down quietly for multiple hours and learn sign language,
How about I'll give you each a gold piece every lesson you come to?
you may now have advantage.
Thank you so much, Louis.
How to get advantage? Money. Offer to pay for it.
Buy advantage. That's how it works in D&D.
And life.
That's a nat 20!
Yeah.
At the sound of gold, you see the complete mood has dissipated. Even Daisy looks like she's calmed down a little bit. And you have added a +1 to the ship's morality counter.
Sick.
Nice.
Winning.
Over the next week or so, you begin your lessons. Now, let me do some quick maths. So obviously, Feng needs to be able to learn it as well.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's 8 people you're teaching sign.
Okay.
So, Louis, that will cost you 113 gold to educate your crew.
No problems. Thank you, Miranda.
Thing will subsidize that by 50 gold.
Denis, noticing that there is an issue with Daisy's ability to make sound, is going to use his magical tinkering just to make a little, I'm going to say a bonbon that makes a sound that just says, help, 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 help.
That's going to haunt our nightmare.
You hand it over to Daisy. Make me an insight check, Denny.
That's a 3.
You see as Denny nonchalantly passes the bonbon to Daisy and turns to walk away, you all see Daisy blush. You see the scales on her cheek turn rose pink, and you also clock from the other side of the ship Plimp, giving Daisy a withering look.
Oh my god, we have a love triangle.
It's a rom-com on this pirate ship.
This was not what I anticipated for this journey.
Over the next week or so, Holly and Charity carefully navigate the Halagas along the crest of the Ostov Isles. The sea already is beginning to freeze, now representing a lattice work of interlocking ice sheets, only broken apart closer to shore. The isles themselves and the city of Lorne, even from a distance, seems bleak, barren, and desolate. Gone are the plains of waving grasses, tilled earth, and fertile soil. Here, one ekes out a living by scratching off rocks and whatever meagre sustenance the frigid sea provides. Q2 has made many notes to both Holly and Finkel, for the ship was greatly damaged by both storm and the encounter with the ether core. Holly is not a fan, but has no choice in the matter, and the Halligas will need to be set down in Kaer Frösja before the great thrust eastward. Luckily, the Rimebeards are master carvers and shipwrights, with their centuries of knowledge in tundra pine. That is not the difficulty. The difficulty lies in getting the dwarves to part ways with their craft without bankrupting the expedition. A day before the ship is due to dock in Kaer Frösja, Holly calls a meeting on the top deck of the ship. Fang, you see Fang kind of awkwardly sidles in next to her, trying not to notice. Holly notices, but just pretends like she doesn't.
Fang crosses his arms, then tries to lean on something, falls over, doesn't know how to stand, and looks towards Louis, and he says, "How do I stand as a leader?"
Shoulders back, chest out, confidence, head up. Project what you're not feeling. If you make it up enough, you'll start to believe it and everyone else will. And I'm going to cast Enhance Ability on him. I'm going to give him Eagle's Splendor, which the target has advantage on charisma checks.
Wonderful. You see Holly takes a deep breath and closes her eyes and then says, "Right, well, given the storm and those pesky ether core nights, we are already a few days behind, so you cannot tarry. You will all have free reign of the city. This is the last port we think exists before turning east. Spend your gold, have your whores and drink, but keep your wits about you. The dwarves here do not tolerate fools and thieves, and are likely to take a hand before envisioning mercy or calling for the guards. If you are captured, you are left behind. I never knew you. I know nothing about any expedition, nor any monies owed for your service. Don't let the tundra be your doom. I will expect you back on board before the end of the day, on the morrow. This time of year, this far north, you will not be able to use the sun. The Tundra Isles will experience a permanent gloom for the next 2 months or so. So be vigilant."
Denny's gonna raise his hand.
Denny.
Yes, you said to take your horse. Do we have to? As in, if there were some people who we thought about taking that were already on the ship, whoever they may be, do we have to betray their trust?
You see Holly casts Gift of Gab to remove that from your memory.
Oh, interesting. She now has chrono-G magic.
She then turns to you, Fang. Anything you'd like to add, dear?
Just remember that we are only as strong as our weakest member, so if anyone gets into trouble, yes, don't, give away our operation, but, stick together, protect each other. It's kind of like why I broke up that fight the other day, because we need to be a crew. We need to be a team.
You see at the sound of whores, most of the crew stop paying attention.
Yeah, that checks out.
Lysandra kind of whoops.
Lysandra's going,
Yeah, Lysandra whoops, and then some of the other crewmates get startled. Where does this come from? The northmost realm of Kaer Frösja has suffered the least as a result of the ancient cataclysm, thanks to their isolation in the frozen seas and the buffer of the Ostov Isles. In their isolation, the warring Rimebeard families were left to their infighting and mutual destruction, until the would-be king, Fronkir Bonebreaker, united the 4 dwarf clans. The 4 clans are Istrid, Bonebreaker, Sleet Hollow, and Wug, to resist the influence of the High Elves and the Eladrin, as well as furthering their own insular ambitions. In the end, the Rimebeards became a reluctant signatory to the Concord Dawn. Still referring to their Jarl as a king of the Tundra Isles, the dwarves are prickly and mistrustful to outsiders at best, and wantonly violent at worst. The trade of fine gems from the northern wastes and facilitated by lumber from which the dwarves carved magnificent sleds and ships, Kaer Frösja became a reluctant yet wholly necessary member of the realm, causing headaches for the Jarldom in accommodating the stubborn and capricious ways of the Rimebeards that were not shared by their mainland counterparts. However, some of the peculiar cultural aspects of the Rimebeards are renowned, and spectacles across the land can be seen. The festival of Vetrenetra, or the Winternights festival, is both a solemn and joyous annual event in the Rimebeards' calendar. Pilgrims from across the Isles and Tundra travel to the ancient city in the dead of winter. So, on the darkest day of the year, they may reflect on the trials and tribulations of the year before. Massive feasts and merriments to ritualistically deplete the larders of last season's stock ensue, where dwarven families come together to consume any bad spirits which may linger. Once the feasting is done, however, the festival truly begins, as the dwarven families, in a bid to show honour to their ancestors, engage in day-long sparring matches and fights, whereby champions from the respective families do battle to compete for the title of Thrall to the King, joining his honour guard and supposedly strengthening the dwarvish line. While not completely open to outsiders, the Winternights festival still attracts a small crowd from across the land. But those who do travel must travel with the understanding that the Rimebeards know no law but their own, and many an innocent larrikin has found themselves in the stocks, or worse, for disturbing the peace. But for those with a little grace, or a lot of brawn, the festival represents a myriad of mischief and opportunity, as the night of the winter solstice holds secrets even the dwarves have lost to history. Secrets on the making and unmaking of the world. As you pull into the northmost realm, Wellspringers, can you make a perception check?
Yes.
Sure can.
Sure thing.
Did anyone get below a 10?
Thing did.
Fang, you are busy managing expectations on the ship, so you do not get to see any of the nice things.
Thing is also probably seeing to Cecilia and Patrick before he gets off the boat, making sure they're okay, probably leaving some rations for them, making sure they're safe.
Yes.
Tucked away.
Make me a constitution saving throw for exhaustion, please, but given Promy's fire, you will get advantage on this,
Awesome.
because it is now colder.
Thank you. 12.
That passes, and yes, you are able to do that. It is still a few weeks before the winter solstice, but the northmost realm is deep in preparation for the occasion. As you pull closer to Kaer Frösja, you see tiny caravans meandering their way over frigid ice sheets, keeping to the thickest parts marked out by great wooden posts. The small orange candles lighting their way in the distance resembles a line of ants desperate to make it back to the nest. As the streams of insects intensifies, splintering and flickering lights appear in the far horizon as the most remote hold in Nua comes into view. Unlike the barren wastes of the Ostov Isles, here hundreds of small dwellings cradle the steep slopes of an enormous fjord, spilling down towards the frozen sea into the large, glowing centre of Kaer Frösja. Snow is piled high on the outer walls, and black, hulking forms of large galley ships can be seen to either side of the main dock, locked by ice in their winter resting places. As you begin the laborious task of anchoring the airship to the dock, powering down the engine and slowly manoeuvring the ship to sea level, you see a welcoming group of snow dwarves, or Rimebeards as they refer to themselves, appearing at the far end of the dock, carrying torches and making their way briskly to the Halligast. What do you do? So the airship is now lowered onto the dock, so it's at sea level, and you see these group of dwarves approaching. Fang, for your purposes, you are not here to see this.
Yeah, that's cool.
Denis is going to move to the back of the group, trying to avoid any sort of conversation.
The light from their torches intermingles upon their armour, with the deep purple of the Aurora Borealis developing above.
You sure it's the Aurora Borealis or...
As they get closer, you can see their breath and weapons. Large bearded axes, several pointed and blackened pikes. The Rimebeard at the front strides up the gangway, addressing the crew. I do not care how bad the weather is out there. We do not offer shelter to pirates who raid our ships in the spring. Were it not for the holy night approaching, we would have shot you from the sky. Begone, brigands, from this place. Let the curse of Brochia follow you into the night.
Hearing the accent, Denny is going to come back up to the front of the boat, thinking, I got this.
Yeah, I found my people.
Lysandra, hearing this, is going to put her hands up. Whoa, we're not pirates. We're here looking for help.
Louis sort of steps up next to her. We got diverted by a storm. We're here simply looking for repairs.
You see the dwarves are going to make checks on your ship and on you. You see they look at you and says, if you are not pirates, well, you are definitely not merchants, because no one trades by skies this time of year. You know the storms are getting worse and worse.
We're well aware of that. We're a research mission. We're looking into weather patterns and things around we're Skye ship. We're monitoring the storms. We just got lost and misplaced within the one that's over there on the horizon. You can see those conditions. That's where we've just come from.
Denny, as you stand in the back, you feel a hand on your shoulder and turn around and see your captain. Holly walks brusquely up to the dwarf and says, Captain Holly Premblebrook, darling, charmed. And you see the dwarf is taken immediately off guard and says, the Wagner, this, you are the captain? You see Holly giggles, leans down and whispers a few choice words into Wagner's ears.
She's good.
It's a steamy episode.
I know.
The dwarf's complexion changes rapidly, turning a bright pink, before messing up his enormous beard and giving a short, curt nod to Holly. Holly turns back to the crew, winks, and says, 2 days, my lovelies, no time more, don't be late, ta-ta, and heads down the gangway, parting the group of dwarves as if they were never there.
Yes, ma'am.
Wagner comes up to you and says, yes, well, we will begin the repairs right away. Your captain has organized for the payment. This is all fine. Is there anything else you would like to add while we are here? You only have a few days.
Denny's going to pipe up. Well, I was not going to ask, but since you mentioned it, could we perhaps get a wham?
Like a goat or a sheep or a...
No, a ram. You know, for ramming into things.
We tie a ram to the front of the ship?
I mean, yes, but not what you mean.
After way too long, the dwarves finally get what you mean. And
I was going to say, can I, make another one of those little things, but just so that it says ram?
As you depart the Haligas, what visage would you like your battering ram to depict? So, what it looks like. Usually battering rams depict either a weapon or an animal.
Yeah, Denny's going to pipe up and say, could it be a mantelope?
I'm going to make a history check.
And don't tell Feng.
They look at you and say, Mantelope. We do not have these.
Oh, that is okay. Feng! And he's going to call out to Feng. Feng, bring out Cecilia and Patrick.
I guess Feng will start to lead Patrick and Cecilia up, not knowing what's going on.
Make an insight check for me, Feng.
Sure.
It's Denny does the Will Smith.
Holy shit, that's a 26.
Oh my god.
Nice.
You see the dwarves are shocked by such a creature as a mantelope, and they start whispering to each other in Dwarvish and saying, yes, I think we can definitely, it'll take some time, but we are not artists. It might not look very good.
With that 26 insight, I know that they'd never seen a mantelope before. Was the intent that I was getting, I don't want to say nefarious, but did it look like they were a bit intrigued and interested in mantelopes?
Don't think that's very different to what they haven't seen it before, so therefore they would be intrigued by it.
Are you asking if they want to steal?
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Or eat them.
Or eat them.
Well, yeah, so many people eat mantelopes. I just need to...
Given what Holly has presumably done, and the way that the dwarves have just done a complete 180 on you guys, the 26, you may not trust them with the dwarves, but also, if they're this accommodating to Holly, they wouldn't really turn around and screw with her ship while she's gone.
That's fine. You keep trying to kill these mantelopes, so I just need to make sure.
Is anyone doing anything else before you depart? You see half the crew has already bid farewell and starts making a beeline to the massive mead hall in the centre of the city, referred to as the Hallowed Hearth. The other half starts to head to the outskirts of town, presumably where the houses of ill repute lie, to spend the last of their coppers before heading east. What do you do?
Lysandra's going to sort of gather the Wellspringers together. So, what are we doing? Are we going to let loose, or are we going to go to another mission?
Thing's gonna chime in and go, I'm gonna kick so many dwarves' asses at Liar's Dice.
I don't think that's a good idea, Fang.
Oh.
We need to be somewhat respectful in their territory.
Yeah, I'm going to respect them by beating them.
He makes a good point. That these are...
We don't want to piss them off, though.
I'll try my best.
Lysandra just head in hand.
Louis kind of pipes up as everyone's sort of having this little moment. It's like, well, are we here for... Are we looking to relax a little bit before heading further east? Or are we trying to find bits and pieces of things we might need, items, whatever magical things they might have here that might assist us?
I think if anyone needs something, they can, but I don't know, it kind of feels like we're about to sail into what feels like the end of the world, so I kind of just want to let loose a little bit, you know?
No, I agree. I think it'd be good for us to have a little moment of revelry.
Then he's gonna look to everyone and say, look, if I'm being completely honest, I recently came into a fair amount of gold. Unimportant how. And it is burning a little bit of a hole in my pocket. So I'm gonna go buy some shit.
Sick.
As you leave the Halagas and move onto the dock, you see the buildings here are really close and huddled together. Residents begin filling the streets. A huge array of dwarves can be seen. Like brutish peacocks, these dwarves are all in polished helms and armour, catching the dim firelight, each complemented with their own clan's colours. Every now and then, a dwarf of their rival clan spits at the feet of another in a ritual challenge. If reciprocated, the dwarves would draw their weapons, throw them to the ground, and lunge at each other in a furious sparring match. Small crowds of onlookers would jeer and whoop, and the display, hoisting the victor upon their collective shoulders and cheering into the night. Someone give me an insight check on this.
Sure thing. Louis got a 15 on that insight check.
Louis, with a 15 and your years of experience and seeing different people, it's clear to you that snow dwarves or Rimebeards seem to be beings of courage and action. This display must represent a ritual developed over a long time, as everyone appears to understand the implications and limitations here. You see those defeated often slink away into the shadows, sporting fractured ribs and bloody noses, off to drink their ailments away most likely. But it doesn't seem deadly combat, and it seems that perhaps that this is a hallowed time of year, and that life is somewhat sacred, and therefore weapons and deadly force might be prohibited.
Oh.
As you make your way further into the city, what are you looking for, Wellspringers?
Then he's got a little shopping list. He's going to try and... Well, his first thing to do today was to try and fuck Plimp. So that's on its way. That's in the mail. Second thing was to suss out rations and to try and get some extra ones so that Cecilia can have extra food. And then the third thing was to either talk to Finkel or one of these dwarves about where he could get some sort of miniature handheld cannon.
A handheld cannon sounds terrifying.
Yeah, what could you call that?
No idea.
As you make your way further and further into the city, the streets and small alleyways remain dark and barren, with life huddling mainly to the dim light and comforting warmth from braziers lining the larger city thoroughfares. Feng, do you have your lamp out guiding the party through this gloom?
I'm a little bit torn because I feel like maybe I shouldn't show, a phoenix and a phoenix flame, but also going back to when Frida gave me the lamp, she told me that it was made by the dwarves in the north, so I'm wondering if it will be okay. So I think I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to hold Promi and Promi's lamp out in front of me.
With that light, you cast these multicolored beams up onto the houses either side, and you see boughs of this deep green pine bedecking the doorways, and a number of vibrant runes and family symbols painted in bright hues upon the doorway. Can you give me an Arcana or religion check, Feng?
What?
I was going to say, if we're all moving as a group, Lysandra has proficiency in religion. If you want to make a religion check, could she help?
I was going to say Denny has proficiency in Arcana, so
Sweet.
You can have advantage on this if everyone's helping you out here.
I feel like gods are really important at the moment, so let's roll a religion check. That's a 3 and a 4 on the dice, so it becomes a 3. Thanks for the advantage, though.
You all see Feng completely absorbed by these runes, and this sucks so much. Denny, can you make an Arcana check for me? But you cannot share this information with the group.
I was gonna say Feng gets a nosebleed from all the way back when Quig tried to explain shit to him.
it's a 21 Arcana.
Oh my god.
Denny, you're deep in your list, and you just casually glance at the doorway, and you're like, oh, these are portents, signs, wards of mystic power. You don't read Dwarvish, I'm guessing?
No, Denny does not read Dwarvish.
But you do know runecraft. And by making runes, one draws a connection between the rune and the marked object, either meaning the door here, meaning that the rune associates its power with the subject. Most of these runes are in ancient Dwarven, but you would assume that they are to banish cold, spirits, usher in a prosperous new season, things like that. But with your 21, and as you cast your eyes upwards looking at these runes, and because Feng is considerably taller than you, he's holding the lantern up to the doorway, so you're looking at the underside of the lantern, and you see similar ancient Dwarvish runes carved into the underside of the lantern.
Oh shit.
Very interesting.
Lysandra, you also notice a couple of people. You notice Finkel shuffles past, making a beeline to the blacksmith, and you also feel the air pressure as Charity glides silently over your head and approaches the town square. It seems like that's where she is going.
Our facts with Emerson.
So, you're looking for rations, Denny, and some material goods. Feng is just keeping lights out for everyone and keeping a watchful eye as first mate.
Yep.
Louis, what are you looking for? Lysandra, what are you looking for?
I think Louis, in this new city, with everything kind of happening in preparation for this festival, she kind of wants to get amongst the community, sort of watch how people interact with each other here, see how it all kind of moves, see if there's any kind of magical community or connections that she could pick up on that might be useful for everyone.
Wonderful. And Lysandra?
I think Lysandra's going to follow Charity to the town centre.
You all make similar movements to the town centre. That is where most of the people are. And you see this huge space. Stone cobbles line the streets. Most of the snow is kept at bay by these tiny dwarves who sweep it constantly, casting heat cantrips to melt the snow and stop it from forming ice. You see these little tiny frost dwarven children mulling around in groups that seem to be equal parts cute and terrifying. Lysandra, give me a perception check, please.
Sure thing. That is a 22.
You see Charity in the centre of the square, engrossed by what appears to be a shrine. As you move forward, the shrine appears to depict a fierce-looking dwarf, hewn from grey stone. His intricately braided beard falls in neatly plaited ringlets to a point that touches the ground. Above his head, he holds a great hammer in one hand and an enormous anvil as a shield in the other. At his feet, Rimebeard's solemnly laid boughs of heather. Given the frigid cold, the frozen flowers below have been crushed by the increasing weight of offerings, and as such, the winter wind dusts the cobblestones around the statue with a dusky pink and purple hue. You can make a religion check here, or you can go up and talk to Charity. It's up to you.
Lysandra's going to go talk to Charity, sort of shuffles up next to her, and just quietly says, "It's..."
Lysandra, you've got to stop doing that! Announce yourself when you walk in. I know I jump, but being quiet and sneaky is the opposite thing you should do. Declare your presence, especially in a strange place. And you see already dwarves are starting to look around and look at you.
Charity, please, I'm so sorry. I was just going to say it's an incredible statue, and do you know anything about it?
You see Charity eyes go wide a little bit, and she ruffles her feathers to get some of the snow off and says, well, you know me, I do love a little bit of intricate, god lore here and now and then. I was a wizard once, so I am very, very, very curious. Charity explains to you that this is a shrine to the lost god Brokia. Brokia was one of the many deities who perished in the cataclysm of the worlds. Some Rimebeards believe that Brokia actually sacrificed his divinity and immortality to shepherd them into the realm of Nua. Indeed, the festival of Vetranetra is designed to pay homage to Brokia's sacrifice and lament his leaving of the worlds. Charity gestures to the flowers beneath the shrine and says, well, these boughs of heather are synonymous with death and rebirth in the dwarven culture. The dwarves believe their hardship makes them strong and resilient. Should the day come they face the end of the world again.
Holy shit, I'm wondering if this is linked to, everything that we've found out so far.
Wow, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Brokia gave their life to
shepherd.
souls, did you say?
The Rimebeards believe that's how they got here, was Brokia shepherded them to
By sacrificing their life.
That's what some of them think.
Yeah, I'm just asking for specific clarification.
Well, I didn't say life. I said a divinity and immortality.
Which is the red potion that Louis found in the Apani Empire. So I'm wondering if Brokia and the old gods sacrificed their life to either stop the cataclysm or cause the cataclysm to allow Nua to continue or something.
Well, at least that's a theory that the dwarves have, and that's what they believe. So it would be interesting to investigate into that further and see what is connected to the stuff in Lala Drud as well, with what we found inside White Canyon.
And interesting that Charity thought that the two moons were old gods.
Especially with the connection to the red moon, the blue moon, the potions,
Yeah.
and then them also linked to the immortality and death, which is Elysium and what's the name of the other one? Avernus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we know what plane the dwarves are originally from?
Very good question. I don't know.
Is it by any chance where...
Can I roll a history?
No, as in I, the omnipotent DM.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, is it the frozen tundra isles that...
They are currently in the frozen tundra.
No, the icy tundras of Lorne, that Professor Caressa is from.
Yes, Professor Cressa is from Lorne in the Ulster Isles.
Oh, I thought that was a plane.
Because if we're drawing connections between the moons and the potions and this broccoli or whatever.
Broccoli is there.
Then wouldn't it make sense if... Because we're assuming that the red is connected to the red moon, which I'm assuming is connected to Avernus. So would it make sense... can we talk to some of these dwarves and see if there's any sort of, hellish connection to, Avernus? And so, Brokia has shepherded them from Avernus into the material plane.
Oh, shit. Great theory.
Wow.
Yeah, great theory.
Emerson's giving us nothing, guys.
Denny, all this high talk of gods, you are using your beady little artificer eyes, and you see a place called Ivan's Makeshift Pantry, and underneath, in gold ribbon, Winter Solstice Cooking Competition.
Oh my god.
Oh, fuck yes.
Oh no.
Yeah, Denny's going to go over there.
I think Louis also follows you just to try, almost when you see a toddler in the supermarket on a leash?
Yeah.
Very much that vibe.
It's very much, we're standing in a group discussing things. I watch Denny kind of walk up and I'm give me a second. Just sidles over.
So Louis starts whispering frantically into Denny's ear to try and be all right, this is what's happening, don't lose your head. It appears that while battle-ready and hardy, the isolation of the Rimebeards have also made great artisans amongst them, and many of their fine wares are highly desired by lucrative families in Cape Rin and Bientiorum. Many an elderly dwarf busies themselves outside Ivan's pantry, inspecting jars of preserves, salts, and spice mixes. From the roof hangs dozens and dozens of pots, pans, utensils, cauldrons, all hewn from crude black metal, dark wooden handles, and etched with runes, similar to the ones you saw on the entryway of the house. You see Ivan, presumably, this frost dwarf, standing upon a small little stool and addressing the crowd and says, Winter solstice cooking competition, daily prizes, ladies and gentlemen. And you notice he doesn't have the Frost Dwarf accent, which indicates that perhaps that this is a travelling Frost Dwarf. And he gestures to a post next to his stall, a canvas sign-up sheet with 2 names scribbled below.
Denis is going to walk up to the sign-up sheet and just immediately scratch his name into it. And who are the other names on it?
You see there are 2 names there. There's someone called Grelk and someone called Midas.
Grelk is interesting because you've got Lady Grelkin's big pot.
Can I make a history check to see if there's any connection here?
Go for it.
That is a 21.
Denny got a 21. So, Denny, you are a hobgoblin and a descendant from a pairing between goblins and high elves. So why couldn't a goblin be descended from a great dwarven line far, far back enough? And that thought itself gives you somewhat of a comfort. You see Ivan jumps down behind you and snatches the sheet and goes, "That's it! Alright, let's go!"
We're just in time.
At least not too much competition.
Louis makes a motion like she was going to clean up his handwriting and then just goes, "Oh, okay. That's fine. If they can read it, good luck."
You see Ivan calls out for Grelk and Midas, who appear through the crowd, and you can make either a perception check here or an arcana check.
Denis going to make an arcana check.
Can I give him advantage on that?
Nope.
Not going to be needed. Big old 27 on that nat 20.
Nice.
You see Ivan begins to speak. Each contestant will have half an hour to collect ingredients from my pantry. You will then have to cook and provide a stew that's hearty and Moorish enough to satisfy the stomach of the pickiest Rimebeard. And with that nat 20, you see Ivan pulls from his breast pocket a shining silver adamantium paring knife. And you see he slashes the air in front of him and creates a pocket plane into Ivan's pantry.
Oh, shit. So what in the MasterChef?
You have half an hour. Go!
Sweet, Denny is going to immediately start, just summon Lady Grelkin's big pot, cast Firebolt underneath it, and start making a Kraken jerky stew.
Okay, so this is how this is going to work. You can use cooking pots provided, but you have elected not to. You're going to make a number of checks against Grelk and also Midas, who also just rush into the pantry and just start heaving things into a basket. I need you to first make me a history check to scope out and collect the right ingredients to complement your Kraken stew.
Just as Denny goes to rush off and collect ingredients and bring out Lady Grelkin's big pot, Louis just kind of like grabs him by the scruff of the neck and just like, you could do really well, I believe in you, and gives him a bardic inspiration.
Thank you, mademoiselle.
Okay, first up, Denny, I need you to make a history check to scope out and collect the right ingredients that will complement your Kraken stew.
Certainly. That is a 19.
Ooh, great. Can you write these down? Because you'll have to add them up at the end.
I got it.
Thank you very much.
First time is history?
Yep, history 19.
With a 19, yes, you, Denny, enter this pantry and you see there's a massive space in here. You know what will complement, so what are you grabbing?
Excellent. Denny is going to grab some really basic spices or seasonings, salt, pepper, maybe a little bit of umami flavor on something to pair well with Kraken, and is going to try and make sort of a bisque broth chowder.
You grab your ingredients, rush back out of the pocket plane to Lady Grelkin's pot, and you see the other dwarves are already starting to cook. I need you to make an insight check now to read into your other contestants. If you roll high enough, you might be able to capitalize on their nervousness and maybe recommend something that might not taste very good.
Ooh, all right. The nat one.
A nat one. Not good, Denny. Denny, you don't play dirty like that. You let your work speak for itself. I now need you to make me a sleight of hand to see how good your mille-poire is, your knife skills, and your technique.
Excellent. Sleight of hand. It's a 4 on the die to become a 13.
13.
Oh, and yes, I will bardic that. So that's going to become a 5 there, and I'm going to re-roll that because creation bards,
Yes.
and a 3. So a total of 18.
Wonderful. Now, Denny, you've made all your preparations, you've gathered your equipment. I need you to make a cooking check for me as you put together this Kraken stew.
Denny's just like cracking knuckles and here we go, baby. It's another nat 20.
Nice.
my gosh.
So write down your full modifier here.
On the cooking check, that would be 23.
23. Well
You
done.
get a +3 from Grelkin's part as well, so 26.
Oh, and a 26. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Denny, you start to smell this Kraken stew and it smells divine. But as always with good gastronomy, it's not always about how it tastes, but how it looks. So now I need you to make a performance check to determine how well you plate your stew.
Do you have a -2 to this?
Maybe. Alright, here we go. Big nat 20 on this performance
this.
check.
Come on.
It's an 8
Hey.
for a 6.
6. You plate up your stew and you see Grelk and Midas also present to Ivan their stews. Grelk has done this pickled onion reduction and Midas has done this elk venison stew. I now need you, as Ivan begins picking out dwarves at random to help him judge the stews, I need you to make a luck check to determine the palate of the dwarf who judges your food.
Oh.
Because sometimes people just don't like things.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Alright, luck check. It's a 6.
That will be unlucky. Now, this will only matter in the sense of a tie, if that makes sense. So, Denny, what was your cumulative score?
70 total.
Nice.
Whoa.
You see Midas goes up first with a score of 60, and you see this Rimebeard sniffs quizzically at his venison stew, eats it, doesn't finish the whole bowl. Grelk comes up. She got a 70 as well, and was also unlucky on her luck dice check.
I can't breathe. We've done like 3 inhales in a row here.
And you see her onion reduction goes down a treat, as well as your Kraken. Although the dwarf who tries yours has never had Kraken before, and comments that it is somewhat of an acquired taste. In a lightning round, I need you to make one more cooking check.
Here we go.
So, Grelk scored a 19.
Yeah, did she?
Yeah, she did.
Sweet. That's another 26.
Oh my god, another nat 20.
Another nat 20.
Is there 3 nat 20s in that cooking competition?
No, just 2, but
Oh.
they were both on cooking checks.
Holy shit.
gosh.
Well, you are a chef, so it makes
Yeah.
sense, I guess.
Apparently I can't roll low on cooking checks.
You see Denny, determined to have people like his food, quickly spoons another bowl full of Kraken stew and hands it to another Rimebeard, who starts frothing at the mouth. It is that delicious. And you are declared the winner of today's cooking competition, Denny.
Denny's gonna sing a celebratory song.
Go for it. Sing for us.
We are the soup champions. France.
You see Ivan jumps down, pats you firmly on the back, and hands you over your prize. You receive a set of black iron cooking supplies handcrafted by Ivan himself, as well as a pair of drake hide oven mitts.
Ooh.
Give me an arcana check on your prizes.
Certainly. That's a 15.
Ivan explains to you that the black tundra pines native to Kaer Frösja were originally used by the dwarves to carve sleds, ships, and the like, and they used their rune craft to protect these ships on their voyage. This craft became widespread in its use, filtering down into the day-to-day life of the Rimebeards, and as such their cooking tools and utensils, alloyed adamantium and black pine handles, are very highly sought after. The carved runes on the handle ensure that these tools will never rust, never dull, and even gain a degree of sentient connection and control with their users.
What the fuck?
With attunement and practice, Denny will be able to command his utensils with his mind alone.
Oh shit.
The drake hide oven mitts. While wearing these gloves, the wearer adds a +1 to their spell save DC and spell attack modifier, and you also gain resistance to fire damage.
Oh shit.
Whoa.
And you see as Denny is cheered by the group of Rimebeards, that is where we will end our session.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Good job.
I'm so proud of those dice. It's so good.
I was watching you pick out, and every time you went back for that white one, and it
Yeah,
worked.
it was for the cooking checks.
Yeah.
If that was a close one. You know I love a bit of cooking competitions.
Yeah. Oh,
It was just MasterChef.
It was kind of MasterChef.
you're hot, then you're cold.
You talked about the pocket plane. I was like, oh my god, we're in the MasterChef kitchen. Oh my god,
Yeah.
oh my god.
I thought Denny was going to win the pocket plane knife, and I was.
We'll talk about it later, but we're not leaving here without that knife.
Good to know.
Steal it.
Doing everything I can to not ruin the day. Happy to ruin the exit.
That's fine.
As always, does anyone have a selfless plug for today?
So I've just started a new job recently. I'm currently working at a homewares and perfumery store, which sells things like lava lamps and salt lamps. And I'd just like to do a shout out to renewable and repairable things that you buy. So we have lava lamp globes, we have salt lamp globes, and we have power cords for when things break. So we have a lot of people coming in being like, you guys are the only people that I know that actually sell replacement parts. So I just like to do a shout out to repairing and maintaining the things that you have rather than just having to constantly buy new things. And to the people that make those things available to make things repairable, bless you.
That's so true. I feel like companies often try so hard to just force you to buy things again and again.
Legit.
I even saw someone post the other day that Ambulance Victoria or Ambulance Australia runs at a $500,000 per loss or some shit per year. And it's like, by the way, you don't need to make a profit on saving people's lives. Like, not everything needs to have a profit.
It's crazy.
Well, you know, with Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency,
don't even.
but it really does. It's the same thing whereby governments should not be efficient. That is by virtue of and if governments are efficient, that's when people's water gets shut off. So, yeah. Anyway, we're not getting into that. Don't forget to follow us on our socials at Down Under the Dungeon Pod. Or from our link tree, and don't forget to send us or tag us in any of your fan art. Always, you can reach us by email at downunderdungeonpod@gmail.com. And if you're feeling generous, please give us a 5-star rating on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And we will see you next week.
See you there.
See you next week.
Bye.